At 29,000 feet, Mount Everest is the highest point on this planet. Reaching temperatures as low as minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit and with winds of up to 200 miles an hour, it is a treacherous place that has taken many lives. My friend Yuli had passed away here the previous year attempting one of his greatest climbing projects to date, something that had never been done before. My name is John Griffith, and I will support and accompany Sherpa Tenji, Yuli's Nepalese climbing partner, as he attempts to finish off his mentor's last climb in his style. Yuli's original project was to climb both the world's highest and fifth highest mountain in a single go without the use of bottled oxygen. It requires a superhuman ability. Only 175 people have stood on Earth's highest point without the use of bottled oxygen. More people have been into space than accomplished this feat. Climbing both Mount Everest and Mount Lhotse will expose Tenji's body to an extraordinary amount of time in the death zone, an altitude that contains so little oxygen that his cells will literally start to die. And whilst Tenji has already climbed Mount Everest 4 times before and once without bottled oxygen, there is no guarantee that he can do it again. It's a race against time.
My name is Sherpa Tenji, and the high mountains of Nepal are my home. Yuli was my mentor. He taught me how to climb, and I joined him on many of his expeditions. It means a lot for me to try and finish off his vision. At the very least, I can try. Just for that, he would be happy. John and I's ascent of Everest begins in the foothills of the Himalayas. We leave the hustle and bustle of Nepal's capital city and land in a remote airstrip in the village of Lukla. It is reputed to be the most dangerous airport in the world. Both landings and takeoffs run the risk of crashing into the mountains around it. There is no room for error. Lukla is known as the gateway to the Himalayas. It's the lowest point for all trekkers and climbers, and where you stock up on provisions, porters and yaks for the 2 months journey ahead. Even at this relatively low altitude, you can start to feel the effects of the lack of oxygen in the air. Our trek to Everest takes us through dramatic scenery, remote mountains, villages and precipitous paths. The mountains in Nepal are covered with Buddhist statues called stupas and thousands of prayer flags fluttering in the wind. The wind passes over the prayer flags and brings luck to those living and climbing in these remote places. For me, this valley is a very special place. It's where my family and I have lived and worked for generations, and I always like to stop by the tea houses to catch up with friends and relatives. Located deep in the Khumbu Valley, an area in western Nepal, Everest towers over the surrounding landscape. It's so high that it penetrates into the jet stream winds, resulting in a near constant cloud plume of snow and moisture streaming from its summit. Before setting foot on Mount Everest, we must first take time to acclimatize our bodies to get used to the higher elevations and lack of oxygen. We will spend 4 weeks here acclimatizing our bodies by climbing smaller mountains and sleeping up high. Slow and steady wins the race. The lack of oxygen high up could shock our bodies irreversibly. It's a painful process at times. The body takes time to adapt and you feel weak and suffer from headaches and poor sleep until you do. The passage of time is slow up here, but you can't rush it. patience is key.
Nice, sweet. Wow. Look at that view.
As we summit our first peak, Tenji and I split ways. Tenji has already been acclimatizing for a while before I came out, and I need one more summit to try and catch up with him. As I make my way past the yak herders, I head on over to one final peak by myself to finish off my acclimatization process. Now I'm ready. One day away from Everest Base Camp, reunited, Tenji and I pay our respects to Yuli at his stupa and lay out new Buddhist prayer flags. Surrounded by monuments to those that have died on Everest, it's a sobering reminder of our own mortality. There are so many unknown and uncontrollable dangers on the high mountains of the Himalaya. I hope that my name wouldn't join those around me. Yuli was one of the most accomplished climbers to have ever lived. A grim reminder that nowhere is safe on this mountain. As we round the corner into the final stretch, we walk past the last settlement and the highest one in the Khumbu Valley. A final outpost of tea houses right beneath the highest mountains on Earth. But for us, our journey has now changed, and it becomes a waiting game, trying to find the right weather window and conditions on the mountains to allow safe passage to the top. We set up our base camp and settle in. There is no rush. Tenji requires an exceptional weather window to attempt this challenge without bottled oxygen. We spend time climbing in the tumbling glacier at the base of Everest and adventuring on the lower reaches of the mountain. But for now, we eat, we sleep, we wait. I can't rush Tenji. Only he can decide when he feels ready. But we don't have much time left. The end of the short climbing season is drawing near. Soon the monsoon will arrive, and with it the jet stream winds that bring hurricane-force winds on the mountain. With one more weather window left until the end of the season, we start to set our eyes on the top of the world. The real challenge begins now. We can only hope that the weather is on our side.